with Shari Petrucci from the Western Mass Master Gardeners Association. Now, earlier we talked about having a garden on the sill, the windowsill. Now we're going to talk about caring for your houseplants during the wintertime.
Yeah, it's tough to care for your houseplants in the winter because they're here in the New England area. Our light, we don't get the strong light, and the temperatures tend to go down in the house, especially at night. And I have some tips for everyone here on how to care for your houseplants. First, you want to know the plant that you're caring for. Is it a tropical plant that requires humidity and higher heat, or is it a plant that requires very little water and very little sun, and where your plants are located?
Right, so not all plants need to be watered at the same amount of time, or days, and need all the same things, because they all have different needs.
Yep, if you know what kind of plant you have, research and read. You can get books at your library on houseplants, how much water. But we know that with the heating systems that we use in the winter, that the air can get very dry very quickly in the winter. So some plants like to be misted, like that, and they need water.
You just missed the actual, you don't have to miss the roots.
No, you're just misting the plant, because what that does is, as it evaporates, it creates a humidity in the air. And if you don't like doing that and it creates too much of a mess, you can put a tray underneath the pot with some gravel in it and just pour some water in there, and that evaporation too will give it the humidity that it needs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So now would this be considered tropical?
This is a tropical plant, but it likes shade.
Oh.
So it's a little
tricky one.
It's a little tricky. These are all tricky. This is a tropical plant. This is a spath. It loves water, and the minute it's out of water, it will wilt flat. But if that happens, don't worry. Just water it, and it'll perk right back up. It's a tough plant. This plant loves a lot of water and moderate sun, but very quickly can grow towards the light source when it's not rotated. That's another thing that you want to do, is rotate your plants. When you do water them, just give them an opposite turn, and that will help keep them growing in a balanced way.
So it'll grow towards the sun if it's not getting enough. Which is this one kind of?
It is doing that. Yeah, if you can see how it's bent, it was growing towards the light, because there's not as much light, and it's looking for that light. And it may have been a little overwatered. If your plants get very long and leggy and thin, the ratio between watering and sunlight is out of balance. You're getting too much water for the amount of light that it is using to photosynthesize.
So you got to change it up a little bit, maybe water less, or give
water
it more sun.
less, and rotate the plant, and you can actually even trim it down a little bit if it's getting too leggy, and then it'll thicken up in the spring when the light comes back.
Right,
Lovely
which we all
plant.
love when the light comes back.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the days are shorter too. When it gets to be colder at night, like really, really cold, what are some things you can do for your plants to
we
stay
all
warm?
turn our heat down, I think, to conserve energy and keep our heating costs down. And plants don't like that fast fluctuation in temperature from 72 degrees and warm and cozy to at night 60 degrees. Some people keep it down even lower than that. So that's tough on the plants. So what I usually do is group them together, and they actually share their own plant heat. And that will help them cope with the fluctuating temperatures. Or you can just put a little dish towel around the base of the plant. If it's a drafty window, you could put something, they have windowsill things that you can use to help keep those drafts down to a minimum.
But you do have to care for them. I mean, you can't expect them to live and be beautiful unless you do care for them just like you would any other living thing.
Yep, you would fertilize them a little less because they're not growing as much, and you would use the fertilizer that's appropriate. And then whatever the directions, you follow the directions on the bottle. But in the winter, you would probably cut that down by 2/3.
Doesn't need as much.
It doesn't need as much, because that will also add to the very lengthy and leggy and thinned out growth, and you don't want that.
Now, is that a watering can over there?
This is a watering can.
Recommend actually watering them? Like I know you said spritzing them, but what, spritz and water?
You have to water them. I actually have so many houseplants that I carry around a very large one and then pour it into this.
Now, how often would you water them versus spritzing them with water?
Depending on the plant. Some plants I water once a week because it gets very dry and the water evaporates, which is a good thing. You don't want them sitting in water and rotting at the root level. And then some only require watering once a month, like the succulents that store their water in their leaves, like jade plants or cactus, things like that.
So you need to know your plants and know how to care for them. Well, Shari, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Nice to have you here. I need to get myself some real plants. I've got fake ones, so I don't have to take care of them.
They're great for the air
and
inside your house.
And now that I know how to take care of them, I should get some. Thanks, Shari.
You're welcome.
Nice to have you here. And to see this segment again, as always, you can visit us online, mymassappeal.com.